Hey, so that was a lot of videos, a lot of content, a lot of thoughts, as it is lately. Hope you didn't drown in it. Hope you enjoyed it. I would just have, we, it's a one-man show. I just have one more thing to talk about before I go back into enjoying things. As I said, Jutsu, something, Kaisen anime I'm currently watching, and I'm playing a game. Unfortunately, the game is dropping off a bit on me, but that will have to wait until we talk about those things because I just finished watching House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel, and yes, it's Game of Thrones. There's no doubt about it, and it's good. It sounds like Game of Thrones. The intro with everything is back. It's just not as cool as with Game of Thrones because you are only going like around the same model. The intros doesn't change according to what location we visit in the episode as Game of Thrones did. But it is very nice because the music was awesome. It's nice to have the music again. Ring of Power could have learned something from this. If you have an established franchise, IP, whatever, an established world with an established sound, it's so nice when Star Wars sounds like Star Wars, when Lord of the Rings sounds like Lord of the Rings, and it's so nice when Game of Thrones sounds like Game of Thrones. Another thing, House of the Dragon. It doesn't have Game of Thrones in the title. I think I just called it House of the Dragon. We'll see once I have to find the title for this YouTube video because then I have to search for it and then I'll see the proper name with the colon and everything. House of the Dragon starts by placing itself on the timeline, and that is nice. That is much appreciated. I believe they said it's 176 years ahead of Khaleesi, because that was, of course, the big main event in Game of Thrones. And that is nice. And of course, we get to see. Pretty sure we get to see the Mad King. Some of the names that I remember for Game of Thrones are being introduced here. So that is, of course, because we're doing with a sequel, as the same I said with Rings of Power, I said with Obi-Wan. We have these sequels issues. So we know where some of the people are going to be. And in House of the Dragon, we know specifically that it's pretty much all going to fall apart. That is just how it is. And unfortunately, with like Game of Thrones, at least to me, it's an extra sour note because we know that not only is everything we get involved in here going to end, but we know that then where it picks up is going to end badly because that's the thing with Game of Thrones, this shadow looming over House of Dragon, is that the ending of Game of Thrones was so terrible. Like it soured the whole experience for many fans. At least did for me. I mentioned it before how affected I am by endings, and especially with Game of Thrones, the ending was not good and rushed and weird because supposedly they wanted to start making Star Wars and then they didn't get to make Star Wars because they didn't finish right. That's other discussion for another time. Despite that, however, I did enjoy eventually House of the Dragon. I am now I'm finished with it. I was enjoying it. It just takes some time to get going, like even longer than I remember Game of Thrones, where like we need to set up the pieces, set up the relationship, the politics, the countries, or the realms of different kingdoms, different families. Even though we are mainly focused on Targaryen, there is a split in that family. So there's plenty of people to keep track of, and plenty of alliances, friendships, and relationships to keep track on. It just takes a little time to get going, but I would say around episode 4, so that's already 4 hours, keep that in mind. Something happened with one of the main characters. And actually, some part of what made me, and I talked about this in Sandman, I had difficulty realizing what is this show going to be about. Like, yeah, the world, Game of Thrones, dragons, blood, yeah, but like it has to be about something. Like Game of Thrones was about Khaleesi trying to fight, let's say, the establishment. It was about the people in the north trying to survive um, the attacks on the families. There are some major players, some major characters that they have to do something, they have to want something, need something, trying to achieve. And in House of the Dragon, I was like, there's a king, trying not to spoil a lot of things. So naturally, we're going to say, okay, is it about the king and the decision that he makes? Yes, but I would say that he's not really the main character. It's actually his daughter, the princess. It's kind of like part of, okay, girl boss, do whatever. I don't definitely don't mind female main characters. Most of the games I play are female main characters. It's just weird, that was part of Game of Thrones, like Khaleesi, the young woman that defined like a whole time, the establishment, an empire, whatever you wanna, how you feel like expressing it. It was just weird that we're going kind of retreading that, saying, oh, but there was another Khaleesi or another Targaryen princess 200 years before. She was also a girl boss, and also, yeah, showed all the men and the boys how she wanted things. And it took a while for her to get into position, I feel, to take position, to take the stage, to have the things that she needed to do or that she needed to act on, be present. So it took a while for me to connect with the series, is what I'm trying to say. But in episode, I think I said 4, and I think that's red, something happened. She takes action, and that was very nice. That was like the first biggest enjoyable episodes, because of her character development, because of her agency, and her acting. I can't remember the actress' name, and that's a bit bad because she wasn't doing a good job in the first 3 episodes. Granted, she didn't have a lot to do other than just stand there and be spoken to or talked about. And then she took agency and she lived up. She had some personality. She performed, and it was very, very enjoyable. It was very nice. And then the story skips a few years, and it's another actress. It was also okay, but I was just, I just connected with the actress. Let me look her up. Millie Alcock is her name. I'm not sure I've seen her in anything else. Wouldn't seem so. But I liked her performance. That was really great when once she started to spread her wings, and then it's something else. It was funny because I wasn't really keeping track of House of the Dragon being released. I just started seeing a lot of Princess Tiabini from Enchanted memes, and there's also like a little stuck-up-nosed lamb. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this is Game of Thrones now," and I was like, didn't get the connection until I saw it, and it was quite funny. But she became better, and then she took me away. that was not good. But then things had happened. Things had been set up with the families, so it takes a while. Like I would say, like 4 or 5 episodes, and that's not good. I remember being hooked on Game of Thrones episode 1 when Jaime Lannister pushes down, I can't remember his name, Brandon Stark, gets pushed out of the window. That's kind of like good cliffhanger. And I was instantly, as I remember it, that's where I was like, I need more of this. That took longer in House of the Dragon than with Game of Thrones, so to take that into account. There are some evil people in this show. And of course that means that anything can happen. The show does very little to make me understand why they're evil, other than hey, they're royal, they have dragons, they're used to getting what they want. And I was hoping to get more. And it's a little off-putting to see someone being evil just for evil's sake. Again, as the show goes on, that character gets some motivation explained, but it's like, okay, so life didn't get the way you thought it would be. You're still rich, you're still well off. But we gotta have villains, and that's how it goes. It's not a huge complaint, it's just I was hoping for something better. We can talk about, at least I can talk, maybe you can tell me what you think. I will talk about the dragons, because they are here. Unlike Game of Thrones that teased dragon and then lured, baited us with the White Walkers. They kept coming to a point where South Park made very good fun of that. The dragons are here in House of Dragon. That is part of, because of the time that it's earlier and all that. So there are dragons, and they're big, and they look well, as in the show looks well. The show looks standard Game of Thrones, looks very nice. They are believable. But the dragons are no longer teased. They are here, they are in full force, they are very active, and they are mentioned and relevant in every episode, and I like that. I mean, House of Dragon, but still. As part of the political game and the power struggles, and you can have bannermans and loyalty, but I have a dragon. So you have that. There's a lot of good dragon action, and I have reached the end of my notes. I'm not sure how long this video will get. I feel like it's not that long, but they don't have to be. It's just I thought maybe I had a lot more to talk about. But I don't have any more in my notes. I'll say I recommend it. That's what you probably here for. Those of you that are here, you want to know, should I watch House of Dragon? And my answer is yes. It's Game of Thrones. It's good. It's solid. I'm excited for more. Of course, there's going to be more. And that was nice. I'm happy to be excited about Game of Thrones again. This is good. One thing is, I say, would I recommend you watching it? My mother is a Game of Thrones fan. She was a Team Arya. I'm not sure who she will pick here. She hasn't watched it yet, but I'm gonna show it to her. So it's not bad, because otherwise I would just have not mentioned it to her. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. So House of the Dragon. It's an easy recommendation. I'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it, I think you will, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go away for a while. I haven't watched any more shows or played any more games, so that's what I'm gonna go do. Thank you for hanging out on my channel, and I'll see you when I see you.